Hey, Dirt Farmer Jay here from dirtfarmerjay.com. I'm excited to share with you the new adventure that I'm on, where I'm embarking on this great journey of chainsaw milling. I've got a lot of lumber that's brought to us by a friend arborist that is large trees, lots of shreds, all that sort of thing. And previously, the only thing I've been really able to do with it is cut it up into shorts, split it, and use it for firewood. Well, this is a game changer. What I'm doing right now is putting together a full kit, a really nice kit, that's going to allow me to use this chainsaw mill to slab out either slabs. I can do dimensional lumber. I can do any kind of wood that I want in different thicknesses, either for furniture, construction projects, or other things around here. I'm really excited about it. So what we'll do as time progresses, we'll create other episodes showing assembly of the unit, different ways we've set it up, and ultimately it being put to use. Well, let's go ahead and jump in. The first question right off that I know some are going to ask, and I had to ask myself, is what kind of mill am I going to get? Am I going to get a bandsaw mill with a whole carriage and that sort of thing, or am I going to get a chainsaw mill? I ultimately landed on this, and here is the primary reason. If you have a bandsaw mill, you need to bring the lumber, the logs, to the mill. And those can be quite heavy, quite sizable. They take a lot of specialized equipment. Where this allows me to take the mill directly to the fallen log, or if it's been put in our woodlot in the back, I can take this after stabilizing the log and mill it right in place. So that is the first consideration. Do you have equipment to move heavy logs, and therefore you can lift them and place them and mill them? Or do you need to let the logs lay where they are and mill them? In my case, it was the second setting. The second question to ask is, what components or pieces of gear do you need to set up a chainsaw mill itself? Well, the first thing you need is the Alaskan Mill itself. This is Granberg's model, the G778. And by the way, this is the original Alaskan Mill. The original Alaskan Chainsaw Mill was invented in the 1950s by a logger in Alaska called Will Elof. Now, Will later on sold licensing rights to Elof Granberg. Elof Granberg of the Granberg family was already in the industry. He had already invented a portable chainsaw sharpener and was in that whole circle of people. When he saw the mill and how it worked using a chainsaw, he said, I can take this to market and strengthen it and improve it, engineer it. And so in the 1960s, the original Alaskan Chainsaw Mill was introduced. And since then, several, even though the basic design is the same, the components have been improved, the engineering. So I'm proud to say I'm actually using the original, the real deal. Everything else you see out there is essentially following suit on this. Some not so good and others pretty doggone good, but they're the real deal. So here we have this Alaskan Chainsaw Mill. This is a 48-inch mill. And we'll get into that a little bit later, but you first need the mill. The second thing that you're going to need that I decided to put together with it is a winch system. So this winch, you can see a picture of the mill set up. The winch allows you at the operator's position, and after attaching a swivel arm and a connector cable and a crank, this allows you to advance the saw down the length of the log without having to push it hard. Your job at that point is to keep the engine of the chainsaw throttled up, lift a little bit of weight off of the motor itself so it's not digging down a little bit more on one side than the other, and then to crank that crank at the right speed using the RPMs and the sound of the engine to gauge the speed in which you should going. Much smoother cut, less fatigue, and just makes it so your back is not just take a beating on every cut. So the winch is the second thing, okay? Now, it was important to me to be able to make dimensional lumber. And when I mean that, 2x4s, 2x6s, 6x6s, 6x8s, all that sort of thing, because I've got some porches and structures around here. Well, to do that, you need to create a 90-degree face to the first cut off of the log. And in that case, what you're going to use is the edging mill. We'll show this later on, but the diagram kind of sets it here. You have a track with a smaller saw, not your primary saw, set in this. It cuts off a slice on the side, leaving you a true 90-degree bunk of lumber right there that now you can either slice this way if you wanted to, or to start cutting off, or to create comb cuts that you can then slice off sideways to do dimensional lumber. So those setups right there, those are three really key important components. Now, I wanted to upgrade this just a little bit more, so there's two other upgrades that are available for this that I went ahead and purchased. One is this set of rollers, and where these go is on the Alaskan Mill under the side of the engine, and this allows, when it's mounted, if this is the log, it allows it to roll along. If you've got a gnarly or bumpy log, instead of it digging in and all that and chattering, this tends to roll above and around things very smoothly. And these are gas-filled plastic, so they're very heat resistant, so even the exhaust from the chainsaw mill will not soften nor deform them. That's one upgrade that I've done. The second upgrade is this set of quick releases. And so what this set, we'll get into this later in subsequent episodes, this allows me to adjust the depth of the cut on the Alaskan Mill without having to have a wrench or undo nuts and things. I can simply clamp these, move the saw up or down, or the bottom frame, to know how far, how deep the next cut will be, whether it's going to be 2 inches, 5 inches, 8 inches, whatever it's going to be. This is a real labor saver. All right, that gets us through the main components. So there's a few more things to call your attention to. If you're out milling, you don't want to run out of supplies. So some extra chains, and this is an important point. If you notice right there, they say ripping chain. So think about the most typical use of chainsaws is cross-cutting, cutting long lengths into shorter lengths, short bursts of activity, cutting across the grain through it, whereas when you're milling, you are cutting long ways. Some people call it along the grain or with the grain, but there's a lot of different grain that occurs also, stuff that's rising, falling, that sort of thing. And you need a special chain that cuts with less resistance, ejects chips better, is less strenuous on the motor head, on the chainsaw. So you need to get the right saw blade. In this case, these are ripping. They're also got a scoring cutter specifically made for this. Something else you need is a way to keep the chain in great shape and sharpened as it's out there in the field. And here we have their bar-mounted chain sharpener. This is a 12-volt, and it attaches by clips to a car or truck battery or a power supply, a 12-volt power supply, and allows you to sharpen chains on the bar, or if you change them out, to take them all back and sharpen them all for the next session of cutting. And I also at the same time got some extra grinding cones that go into this to keep things going. All right, now we move to this set of materials here. This may not be very self-explanatory, but what this is what they're called their easy rail system. Chainsaw milling heavily depends on the accuracy and flatness of the first cut. So you'll see some people build rails, some will use an aluminum ladder, they'll attach it, and as long as the two rails are parallel, they're not twisted like this, and they're running in plane down the length of the log, you can use that to create your first cut. The top rails of the mill right along on the jig rails, and the chainsaw is suspended below at a predetermined depth that you gauge, and then you slab off that first cut, remove the rails, and now you have a reference plane whereby to either cut off a side using the edge mill, or to start doing flat cuts, or perhaps even do a slab off the side, turn it back and forth to do different types of cuts that you want off of that. Quarter sawn, flat sawn, rift sawn, those kind of things. Now, as we look at this though, this is their system called the Easy Rail system, because when we assemble this, put this all together, this will very quickly set up and tear down to give us that first cut, secure very cleanly to the log, and make it so that first cut is pristine, beautiful, and can easily be referenced off. More to follow on this after we assemble it and show you how it works. Well, that brings us to a couple more things. One is safety, and you should not be working out using a chainsaw without, in this case, I have a nice set of safety chaps. I also have the full gear coming of the forestry helmet, the earmuffs, the eye protector. I have some nice work boots that are very thick. Steel toe boots are fine as well. And then also work gloves. Remember, you're throwing a lot of chips. You're working with something that's running at high RPMs. There's no sense in cheating yourself out of safety gear. So safety gear is paramount. And these saws put out a significant amount of noise. So you need to protect the hearing also. So in the evening, you can go in and watch a little TV or listen to your favorite music without having to turn everything up. And that brings us to the very last thing on this table, the orange and white elephant in the room. Well, it's not really an elephant, it's a big one, but this is the Stihl MS661 CM chainsaw with a 36-inch bar with a rip chain on it. This is a beautiful commercial saw. I splurged, I went above and beyond on this saw because it is literally the power source for everything we're going to be doing here. This saw is set up for professional loggers. I'm not one, but I'd sure like the benefits of everything they get, such as a matched fueling and oil system. They're both designed to be refilled at the same time. Adjustable oiling to make sure that the whole bar keeps oiled. A vane system inside the bar that keeps oil being ported all the way along the duration or the whole perimeter of the chain as it's out on the bar. A special startup system, a carburetor management system. This is a beautiful saw, and I got it from my friends at Speed's Power Equipment. And it's a great, great saw. We'll go into more detail on that in future episodes. One last thing, Granberg, upon hearing that this is the saw I was investing in, said, we think you're probably going to want to, as time goes on, you're probably going to cut larger lumber. We're going to gift you one of our solid steel bars with a sprocket nose that is compatible with this. This is a 42-inch bar, and when whatever length your bar is, by the time you clamp it in the system and set it up, you lose about 6 inches of cutting distance. So this 42 is going to give me about 36 inches of true cut width that I could do in one pass, whereas the 36 will give me about 30 inches of cutting width. We've covered a lot here, and thanks for sticking with me. But to make it easier for you, I've listed out all these items in the description below, along with the model numbers. If you're interested in exploring this any further, or you'd like to purchase something from Granberg, which I really like these guys, you can go to granberg.com. If you do purchase something, make sure to use the promo code DFJ. That's DFJAY, and you'll receive 10% off of your order. While this set of gear is great for handling large pieces of wood, I bet you've got trees and shrubbery around your place that need trimming. Well, check out this video where we show you the DeWalt 20-volt mini chainsaw tree trimmer. It's a great tool, but we gave an honest review on it of what we liked and what we didn't. See if it'll fit for you. It may be something you can use. Until the next time, this is Dirt Farmer Jay from Dirt Farmer Jay. Really excited about this next chapter.